What's going on, everybody? It's Eric here, and welcome back to the channel. As some of you have known, I've been out of the military for a year and a half now, and transitioning into the civilian side is a lot different than you would expect it to be. I say that because sure, there's all the resources that the military will provide, the VA will provide, the transition center will provide, but at the end of the day, you have the ultimate responsibility of making sure a lot of things get done. What I mean by that is, say, your transition process of finding a new home, finding a new job, finding a community. Honestly, that has been the biggest piece, right? And for me personally, church has been one of my biggest foundation, my ground point, to where I can always fall back on. And you're always gonna have people that are very welcoming. And also there's military communities or military groups in the area, local area, VFW, that kind of thing. And then just getting plugged in with the VA, there's communities that they'll be able to provide for you. But at the same time, what is something that you have easy access to that you're always going to be welcomed, right? And for me, it has been church. But I say all of this because the transition process, there's a lot of things that's not always covered. Sure, the transition center will provide you the resources online, but at the end of the day, it's up to you to go out and find and get in front of these resources, and also to follow up with them, right? A lot of times these communications are done through emails because people love emails. And phone calls are great too, but at the same time, it's like you got to put a face to the name. And all these names and these brochures that are handed to you at the transition center 180 days out. Gosh, it's just been a year and a half, and I can still remember sitting there, and you're just bombarded and overloaded with all these brochures and emails and phone numbers and resources. And you're like, where do I start? And so it's so important as you're transitioning right now, 180 days out, or maybe even just a year out, that you find somebody that's already on the other side of the fence that has gone through the exact same process, and ask them, hey, who did you reach out to? Hey, how did you find your job? Hey, was it more beneficial to go to a job fair or doing virtual job fairs? Because there's virtual job fairs that came out of the pandemic. And then also, do I just hop on LinkedIn or Indeed? Do I just send out mailers, or not mailers, but do I just send out shotgun blast a bunch of my resumes to employers? Now, there's so many different ways you could do that. But honestly, there's nothing that can beat the human connection, the power of networking. So reach out to somebody, maybe your senior NCO, first sergeants or senior NCOs and officers that have gotten out, and reach out to them. Hey, what did you do to get out? And try to locate it, co-locate it to where you're going to transition out. Because if you're asking for some advice from someone that has transitioned into their home state, say Georgia, and you're trying to move to LA, well, that's a different community and they have different resources. And when I say resources, is their local communities, right? A big city versus a small city, there's different resources in that. As some of you know, I am in Los Angeles, and there's so many different resources here. There's not a lot of Army community, well, because there's the biggest Army base here is Fort Irwin, and it's like 3 hours away. The closest area here is the Air Force Base. Now, the Army, the branches doesn't make a difference, but I'm saying the resources is a lot more vast, and there's a huge VA hospital here as well in Los Angeles. And so, but yeah, as you're transitioning out, I highly, highly recommend reach out to a coach or somebody. It doesn't have to be titled. They don't have to have that title coach, but certainly they have to have gone through the process and they're doing successfully for themselves. What I mean successful, in my opinion, is they have a stable job or a stable career, or they have started their own business like they said they would do. And then they have the emotional support, the community. I think that's the biggest piece. Is sure, you can get a job, but it's the identity thing, right? So I got my job, I get paid. Okay, now what, right? Does that, where you are now, do you feel grounded? Do you feel a sense of community that it was worth it transitioning? And now this is different for everyone who is coming close to their 20 years versus someone who just did their 5 years, or someone just did their short stint of 3 years. Now, you have different goals, and maybe some people who did their 20 years, they just don't want to be around anybody and they just want to live in the middle of nowhere, and that's perfectly fine. But I'm talking about for the masses who decided to just do the 3 or 5 or maybe even 8 years and transition it out. And now you just want to use your GI Bill. And so these things are so important. Find a coach, find a mentor, somebody that's already out, and asking them, hey, who did you plug in with? What was it like? What was the time frame like? How was it like finding a new place? Did you have to move multiple times or a couple times? Because you only have one move that the military will pay for. So once you're out, those are some things. There's the logistical, the transportation, the housing, the food. Things can go really, really. I mean, you no longer have the BAS, your basic allowance for subsistence, right? And that's one of the big things. Like, you always know that these are things that are already going to be covered for you. So as they're transitioning out, there's a lot more than what, in my opinion, that are provided at the transition center. And sometimes what they give you is just an umbrella. And sometimes you might need assistance in a specific area where everything else is covered because you're moving back to your home state. Like, okay, you have a community in that area already. But if you are transitioning out and you're moving with your fiance, your loved one, or whatever, into a new city, a new state, because you're following your significant other, that can happen. And if you move there, there's a lot of things that you're going to have to do anymore. You're going to have to do, and that the military that used to do for you. So it's a big transition. It's a big decision for a lot of service members, whether that's 3, 5, 8, or even 20 years, and just finding that community and being grounded and finding the job that's right for you, or the right career that's for you. If you no longer want to work, or you just want to go work at McDonald's or go work at Walmart and just greet. Like, I've heard people do that once they're done with their career. I mean, you do what makes you happy. So I just wanted to share that with you all. If you're going through the process right now and you have specific questions, please drop a comment below. More than willing, DM me. And I enjoy helping others that are transitioning out. Anybody out there, if you know someone in your unit, or that could benefit as well, that's going from being active duty and going to a big city all on their own, or a small city. I've lived in both small city, big cities. And so, yeah, thank you all for tuning in, and thank you for your service and what you do for this country. We don't say that enough. And I feel that wholeheartedly. I feel that especially now being a civilian. So if you like what you've listened to, please share it with someone as well, and subscribe. It's free to do that, or drop a comment below. So we'll see you in the next video. Let's go.